All smiles.
That's it. This is what you'll hear now. This is. We'll be going live in
Great.
exactly 30 seconds.
Cue the orchestra.
That's right. There we go.
Be very quiet.
How far away for the thrill is gone. I gotta get it on and find that strength. 'Cause the road I chose, yeah, it's always full. Those highway lights make me feel so safe. I chase the lightning, I got soaked in the rain.
Welcome to Innovative Strategies with Bill HAASE. Innovative Strategies is a show designed to help people with their business and personal financial literacy. Another way you've known, it's not your grandpa's financial literacy, as Bill uses his 30-plus years in the financial industry to stretch your financial box from, about 30,000 foot. Let's go 30,000 this week, foot view of things. Bill and his guests have helped hundreds of clients achieve and surpass their financial goals. If you have questions, email Bill at billhaase.com or reach out to him at www.billhaase, that's BILLHAASE.com. Today is all about e-learning. Is it the new way? And today we have special guest Deb Dietz, founder of SMB Digital Education. Good morning.
Good morning.
Hey, it's February 16th.
216 right here on 216 the net.
Right?
It's a day so great they named it after the station.
That's beautiful. And at the same time, I just realized you said Bill so many times. I'm thinking, wow, that's a 4-letter word, man.
Bill is. So is Kent.
Yeah, right. But so we want to welcome Deb Dietz, and I tell you, this is a mouthful for me to introduce this wonderful person, amazing woman whom I'm looking forward to working with in the future. But we'll get into that a little bit later. I do want to say, Deb comes from the corporate world. She played with the big boys, the Baxter Laboratories, the Grangers, the Cummings Engine, R.R. Donnelly. And like many of us, has wised up and realized that the outside the corporate world is probably a more enjoyable place to work and use your talents and skills. But she does have an MBA in marketing and business management, certified data science from Johns Hopkins, organizational leadership from Northwestern. She's been on a number of women's boards, the NAWBO, which is the National Association of Women's Business Owners, and I believe in 2019 was the Woman of the Year for that group here in Chicago. And we could continue to go on. And as I said, one of my favorite things is she's also on the board of directors of the Northbrook Orchestra Symphony.
Yeah.
And so
That's
we
awesome.
were chatting about that because I really I appreciate that the music and whatnot and opera and things of that nature. But thanks to my wife, I'm a little more well-rounded since I met her. But welcome, Deb.
Thank you.
Appreciate having you on and joining us. We're talking about e-learning, and this is nothing new, but you are a master at this. So tell us why is e-learning growing now or getting stronger and stronger now? I know it has been pretty strong, but it's getting more of a voice.
It really, really is. And it's almost like with what happened with the pandemic and the onset of COVID, that the market size started to really, really pick up and really grow exponentially. And if you kind of look back, and I'm someone that pays attention to data and trends in business, and back in 2019, the market size for e-learning online learning was about $140 billion. And it's expected to be, yeah, that's all. It's expected to be about $370 billion in 2026. So we're going to see a market size, grow $200 billion in the next 5-6 years. So that is huge. And you have to sort of ask yourself, why is that happening? Well, many things, but number one, the ability to leverage technology, and the fact that people are more and more comfortable learning online. And we've got kids that are learning online, right, in school. You've got parents of those kids, workers in the office are now working at home. And so what's happened is that now that some of these people, because they've been home and working, they have a little bit more time, right? So you're not commuting. So think about that for a second. Right. You're not on the train, you're not in the car, you're working at home, maybe in your sleep, bottoms and, your nice shirt on top, but, you can actually work at home. So now all of a sudden you've got more time available to you. And also there's this movement, and you've heard about this, the Great Resignation, where people have been leaving their employers. And so there's a movement away from the, going in, to the workforce to start their own businesses. And I know, Bill, you and I have talked about the sheer number of new entrepreneurs that have, kind of joined the ranks in the last year and a half. And in I think last year it was like 1.4 million, right?
Yep.
So 1.4 million new businesses were formed last year. In the month of January, just a month ago, the number is almost 500,000 new businesses were formed in January of 2022. And why? Because now all of a sudden people they've had more time available to them, and they've received stimulus payments. So they have money available to start businesses, to incorporate, start kind of hang out their shingle. And so there's this significant movement out of the workforce into entrepreneurship. So with that comes opportunities for learning, right? A lot of these new entrepreneurs may be experts in what they're experts in, but many of them may not have some standard business knowledge that they need to be able to run a successful business and grow a successful business. So that presents a lot of opportunities for subject matter experts to teach and educate these new business owners.
Well, and quickly, good morning, Sally. Good morning, Ted. Thanks for joining in. But here's also something that's important, because you mentioned technology. So it's a lot easier to reach a lot more people through this technology than it would be in the old ways, where you'd have to hire a whole bunch of people to go out to all the different companies or all the different individuals or people, or whether young or old, and teach them. And, and then you have to set times, and people don't want to have, they need flexibility. They need the ability to go on. Hey, I've got an hour. Maybe I can go on and learn something, and this is on my bucket list. I need to learn this. Now's a great time. But, so the flexibility on top of not having to send human resources out,
right,
and setting up all that time. So and I agree with you. I think the pandemic has helped really bring this and shine a light on it. I'm looking forward to capturing some of that couple $100 billion coming out by 2026. I don't know about you, but we're going to work on that. What are some of the other aspects? I mean, so what are the particular areas that you like to focus on in helping small business owners?
Great question. We pay a lot of attention to the emerging trends that are facing and challenges facing small business owners. And so, we're our ears to the ground when it comes to things like, what's happening out there and what types of education or online learning would be relevant to them to overcome these challenges. And so things like, I think Forbes just published an article a few weeks ago about the 16 top trends that will drive small business this year in 2022. And some of them are quite different from what you would have seen in even 2021. And one of the areas, the hot topic areas, if you will, is in the areas of human resources and managing your workforce. Because now you have employees that are working remotely, so that presents challenges. You have issues with, emotional issues of your workforce. You have, the topic of, mental illness in the workforce is raising its head here. Emotional intelligence, how to train people on being empathetic, some of the soft skills that you may not, necessarily think are rising to the top are becoming more and more important in 2022. So emotional intelligence and empathy is number one on the Forbes list of these trends and challenges. There's also so mental health in the workplace, overcoming a toxic work culture, coaching and mentoring of employees. So there are many opportunities here for people in these fields to work with business owners and helping them train and educate their leadership and their staff resources on how to overcome some of these challenges. So we're seeing a lot of that as it relates to employees on the job. And it's interesting because we also do a lot of work in strategic planning. And typically a lot of our clients are really focused on planning financially. They're planning, from an internal and operations point of view. They're planning from a customer point of view. What's relevant value to our customers? How should we be innovating and developing new services and products, as an example? But when it comes to planning at the employee level, how to retain your good people. That's another big issue.
Well, they lost that one last year. They dropped the ball on that one.
Exactly. And so what are these employers doing in order to, number one, be considered as the employer of choice? What are they doing to ensure a strong, healthy, workforce culture? What do they need to be doing to attract those employees, keep those employees, make sure that those employees are productive, that they have opportunities to develop professionally as well, coaching and mentoring. So there's a lot of opportunities, at the employee level for these experts to provide education.
Yeah, and you're touching on so many areas that's what this show is focused on, and we've recently changed our focus towards helping business owners and business leaders understand all the things that you need to know about, you need to learn about, you need to practice
Right.
in order to become successful. Otherwise, you're going to wind up with that great resignation walkout, like we've seen, and it's continuing. And we know the corporate world is having a difficult time, and they have the money for the resources to keep people at least interested in staying with them, with all the benefits that they can do. If
Absolutely.
you're a business owner, you don't have that.
Of course, you're listening to Innovative Strategies with Bill HAASE. We've got Deb Dietz, founder of SMB Digital Education. You can see that up on the screen right there. But Deb, if people want to know more about what you do, how do they find you?
Absolutely. Thank you for asking. You can find me on LinkedIn, Deb Dietz, Dietz. And our website is here at smbdigitaledu.com.
That's right. Good stuff. We've got a question. Sally asks, you're referring to employees when talking about emotional intelligence as far as developing this. To flip this, how would you recommend we measure that emotional intelligence when interviewing or hiring? Anything particular you recommend asking or looking for when interviewing to bring people in that have a higher emotional intelligence?
I think, that's a great question, Sally. Thank you for that. I think that there's an opportunity, you certainly want to hire for the hard skills, right? So you want to make sure that people have the skills and talents to do the job. But I think one of the key differentiators is making sure that if you've got employees that are maybe on a track towards leadership, making sure that they are, that they have a level of understanding about managing people and the skills that it takes to do that effectively. And, we talk about things like empathy and, and having an understanding and an awareness about the challenges that their employees are facing, and what types of services or benefits even can they be offering their employees in order to overcome some of these challenges that they're facing. And so I think, there are opportunities for employers to become an employer of choice by offering this type of training and education in-house, and really starting to use some of the learnings coming from this training to adopt and build a workplace culture that is positive, that is encouraging, that will allow these employees to develop professionally, because a lot of employees also leave because not just from a toxic workplace culture, but also because there's a lack of professional development opportunities and career path, right? So they want to be able to see how they, what is available to them, how can they make a difference. And if it's around certainly hard skills, which are critically important, but I think the difference maker is going to be for employers is to make sure that they're addressing the culture issue and addressing mental health issues and training on empathy, believe it or not.
They say hire character because you can train somebody to do a job, but you can't train somebody to have that good character. And I agree that's very important. And and the business owner sitting out there right now, probably sitting there going, "My goodness, I just wanted to start a business. I just want to sell my idea." But there's so much more to it, and it's important if you want to be successful and get to these next levels. There is so much more you have to learn and understand. You have to grow. You have to because you left that corporate world. You left and you came out here to start your own business, and you did so because you didn't like the environment. You didn't like the way you were being treated. You didn't like the fact that, hey, do as I say, not as I do, or you don't need to know why. I just pay you to do what I tell you to do. And that mentality just doesn't want.
So the Industrial Revolution, right, came around the 1800s, and that's when we went from farming and agriculture and whatnot to textiles and things with machines and things like that, and there was a better way of doing things, right? That's what was sold, and we've been in that Industrial Revolution up until maybe year 2000 or something, when then we shifted to the information age. Okay, so are we in that spot right now, Deb, where people are going, hey, you know what? I want to get off the farm. I want to go in and I want to work my 8 hours in the factory and make it happen. Now it's, hey, you know what? I don't need to go in and work 8 to 5. I can work a few hours here. I can do this. Is that kind of where we're at, is on the onset of that?
A great question. And absolutely, it's the ability to learn online. And the thing is beautiful, it's 24/7, the education's on a digital platform. Wherever you are in the world, you can access, the lessons. So from a professional development, you could be someone who's working a 9-to-5 job right now, who aspires to be an entrepreneur. You can learn, a lot by finding an hour here or there, and taking advantage of all this expertise that's out there to help you become successful. And it's interesting because even if you're a brand new entrepreneur, you're a solopreneur, and you want to start your own company, a lot of people will maybe start and start planning at the financial level, right? So, okay, number one, and what's my value? What's my product? What's my service? One of the things that we advocate for is you need to be planning, and I say this at an enterprise-wide level, even if you're a solopreneur, because you need to be planning certainly your financials. You need to be planning at the customer level. So what is your value to your prospective customers? What's the economic value that they will pay you for? How are you going to, what's your internal operational capability to deliver on that service or developing those products? And then even though you're an entrepreneur, you're a solopreneur, you may not have employees quite yet, but you will when you're able to grow your business and scale. But you're also maybe contracting external resources, other professional service providers to help you in certain areas where you may not have a competency. So I think one of the great ways to set yourself up for success if you're starting and embarking on entrepreneurship is to think from a 360-degree view of your business, even though, you're just getting started, and putting your plan together that looks at those 4 different points of view, as opposed to just thinking about, I'm an expert in marketing. I'm going to put out and I'm going to start my company and be a, digital marketing service provider. You have to think a little bit broader than that. Think and plan at the enterprise level.
Well, I like that you bring in the value of you have to have things in order both at home and in your work, and so you need to balance that. That's
Right.
one of the things why we've left that corporate world. It's like it's just
But
all consuming.
right, so with e-learning, okay, we love in the corporate world. Hey, we have trainers. We've hired professional trainers, and
We
we
have a whole
want
HR
you to
department.
sit in this classroom and train, right? Because now we've got some control. We know what you're doing. You're not in your pajamas, and
Right.
you're here. We don't care if you're not paying attention, but you're here, and we can report to whoever we have to and say, well, they went to this 8-hour class, right?
Well, here's how extensive that gets. Foxconn, building just north of the border here in
Mhm.
Illinois, up in Wisconsin, they were putting in a railway system in the building in order to get employees from where they were working to the classrooms for training. Not kidding you. I don't know that they're going through with it now because they pulled back on about 80% of what they're doing, but which is what Foxconn does. But
Sure.
Right.
So the idea is, though, with e-learning, and e-learning's, here's what I do, right? Because in the banking industry, as you know, Bill, there's all these compliance courses, and so I click, take the test, figure out which ones I got wrong, click, take the test, right? And so is that really learning? And so as we are moving into e-learning, how much is it e-learning? Deb, this is in your wheelhouse, but how effective is it with adults, I guess?
I think it's very effective. Plus, you also have tools that are available to you to kind of measure your performance. I mean, and measure your level of understanding. So, course creators who are developing online courses can do that to make sure that people have a certain level of competence in one area before they're able to move on into further lessons. So there's a way to to track and keep an eye on who's progressing, and as well as understanding where people may be stuck. And that's another important thing to understand is there, because there are so many lessons that are available to you in some of these courses, and many courses are put out there on demand where all the lessons are available and you can pick and choose and work at your own level. There are others that we refer to, that's a terminology we drip the course, so that we're dripping the course out on a schedule, making sure that you have a certain level of competence, and we're going to assess your competence before you are able to embark on the next lesson. So because it's digital and there are capabilities to monitor performance and understanding, you can just leverage those tools to make sure people are really truly understanding the content, and then before they're able to proceed.
Nice.
So a question for you then, and I've heard about these short clips. They're explanatory clips at maybe a minute and a half, but typically they are, I don't want to say cartoon, but along those lines are animated, let's say, that given an explanation of what this course is about. So you can go look and listen for a minute and a half, takes barely any of your time, to determine whether or not that course is of value, or that's the one you were looking for, or that's the one you need next. I love that idea. I love how that's being used. Do you use that, or?
We do. It's interesting because, we use a lot of video and animated video as well, because, you want to be able to get your message across very, very quickly. And video is another tool that is becoming more and more prevalent and more and driving a lot more traffic. So it's a great opportunity to use. And animation is really great because it's clever. It's a great way to get people's attention. And as long as it's not, 5 minutes long, but it's 1 minute and a half, 2-minute video, getting people just enough information to go, to kind of, say, oh, I want to learn more. And then they're able to click the link and then go in and get more details.
Yes, I just remember Jurassic Park and watching when they had those. and I enjoyed that part of it.
Yeah, it's
Well,
like the trailer.
let's stay here for a second. So we're in the age of TikTok. I am a TikTok junkie. I find that the content out there is wildly creative and
Mhm.
it's brilliant. There's a lot of junk too, but I mean a lot of it's the things that I follow are brilliant. With that said, I now find it hard to get through a 3-minute TikTok. That's almost too long for me.
Yeah.
So as it comes to e-learning, what is a good length? What as you're putting this stuff together that I'm not going to lose you? You know what I mean?
Right. Great question. We try for each of there are lessons that are comprise each module. So you may have, module number 1 and may have 3 or 4 lessons that comprise that module. One of the things we try to do is keep the lessons themselves under, anywhere from like 12 to 15 minutes long.
Really?
So, and because then if you're going to go past, that length of time, then that signifies, okay, there's more content here. Maybe that should go into the next lesson.
Mm.
So maybe you have more lessons, but they're shorter so that you're maintaining the attention and the engagement. And so also in the lessons, what we're doing is, again, the use of video is critically important. But another part of this is that people have different learning styles.
Yeah.
So there are people that are visual learners that want to watch lessons. So that would say, okay, they want to watch a video. There are people that are auditory, learners. They want to listen to the lesson maybe while they're walking the dog. And then there are people that want to read it. So we're providing the education in different formats because we want to, of course, offer it up to people depending upon how they want to absorb that content. And so we're doing that in a way that's not, that's within this time frame. So we're not I use the term over engineering. I'd rather have more lessons, than long, and keep the lessons shorter so people can engage and they can complete a lesson in a reasonable period of time. So maybe they complete a lesson and then they've got to step away. They can come back later and then start the beginning of the next lesson. And we want to make it easy for them to do that.
I that's a great point too, because there's times where I'm going to look at video clips and whatnot, and I'm sitting there going, I don't have an hour.
Yeah, right.
I don't have that much time. I didn't account for that, so now I have to plan for that, as opposed to, well, I can throw a 15-minute in here while I'm having lunch.
Yeah. Exactly.
Absolutely.
Or driving someplace.
Or driving a Tesla. Yeah, I can watch a movie. Right. But I do like that aspect. And good morning, Scott Giles. Thanks for listening in as well.
Yeah. So Ted asked a question, and this could be for both of you. He says, when hiring and trying to keep your top employees, what have you found to be more important to people? More days off, better benefits, continuing education, higher salary?
Opportunity to grow, I think, is a big one.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think salaries as high up as it used to be. With the younger group, from what I'm learning, that's not as important as the environment, as in the opportunity to grow, as in the opportunity to be considered a participant in the growth of the business. They want to be a part of something.
That is such a great point. And I'll come back to the data points about the trends that we're seeing, and coaching and mentoring of employees and providing professional development opportunities, career advancement opportunities. That's another differentiator for why one employer, why you should choose one employer over another, is what does that potential path look like, career path, and what are those opportunities to grow professionally. And, and it doesn't, and the fact that that's planned for, that's part of that employee's, performance plan, is that you're going to show them what opportunities you're going to present to them, what types of training and education is available to them, and you're going to provide that opportunity for them. Because you may have people, and I've done this before in my past, in my corporate life, certainly, where I had people that were in, a job, maybe they were a marketing manager, product marketing manager. I'll use that as an example, real life example. And I had this woman, and she was a great product marketer, but she was also really technically oriented, and she had some ground technical skills. And we were in the process of redoing, our website and, and kind of reforming all of our digital marketing strategies. And I approached her and said, we're about ready to go down this path of this big project, and I'd like you to be on the team to contribute to that. And she initially was reluctant, and she said, Deb, I don't know. I'm feeling uncomfortable about that. I don't think I have the skills to do that. But I saw something in her, that I thought, I want to give her the opportunity. So to Bill's point, provided the opportunity. And this is what I said to her was, you know what, come and work on this project, do it for 3 months. At the end of 3 months, we'll both, reconvene, and we'll talk to each other. You tell me what you thought of your experience. I'll tell you from my point of view, from a leadership point of view, what I saw, and no harm, no foul. If you want to not work on the project after that, you can go back to your product marketing role, no harm, no foul. And so that's the kind of thing that this is many years ago. And this is a person that to this day, still every now and then will send me notes saying, oh my gosh, thank you for that opportunity, because I didn't really know what I was capable of, but you provided the opportunity. And not only that, but I gave her some training to help her build her skills in that area so she would feel more confident, and knowing that we were supporting her and coaching her and mentoring her. That is a huge, value add, why someone would choose one, go to work for one company over another.
It's important for a business owner or a company to be able to show folks, hey, here's what we can do, here's how we do it, and it's kind of up to you, but we're not going to hold your hand.
Right.
But we're not going to hold you back. We're not going to, the pat on the back is sometimes holding you back. And we're not going to do that. We're going to show you that there's opportunity here, but you need to take the initiative, and grow at your pace, at how you see. But I love the idea and that opportunity, because you just don't have that in the corporate world. It's like I said, I got a call from a friend of mine's daughter who started with a big company here in Fortune 500 company, and she calls me up. She goes, I need help. I don't know anything about this 401k stuff and all these benefits, and there's profit sharing, and there's this and there's that. And she said, I just came in to do a job, and and I can't do my job because I have to watch all these videos from HR, learn how this is and how that is, and what to fill out here and what to fill out there. And then you go and fill it all out. You have no idea whether you did it right or wrong, and you're not going to look at it again for another year. It's and HR world's tough anyway, right? It's non-revenue generating part of your operation,
right?
Which makes it difficult to swallow that you need that.
Yeah. Of course, you're listening to 216 The Net here on 21622, right? Hey, so it's a beautiful thing. It's Innovative Strategies with Bill HAASE. And of course, if you have questions, you can always email Bill anytime at bill@billhaase.com. That's Bill at HAASE.com. Today, we've got the founder of SMB Digital Education with us, Deb Dietz. And Deb, so honored to have you, and the stuff you have is absolutely off the chain awesome. If people need to get in touch with you or want to learn more about what SMB Digital Education is about, how do they get in touch with you?
Absolutely. Thank you so much for that, Ken. They can visit us at www.smbdigitaledu.com. And there you've got the website up here. Just scroll through it. You can find out about our services, find out about our courses, get information about the process. If you are interested in creating an online course, I'm happy to share that with you. And again, this is such a great opportunity for people, and I love the fact that this is a relatively new division for SMB, our company. We just celebrated our 8th year in business. So I'm very excited about that. And I founded the company as a management consulting company, and started the digital education division or business unit about 2 years ago. And because this is something, again, there's such an opportunity here for experts, subject matter experts. You could be an author, a speaker, a coach, a consultant, and you have an opportunity to productize and monetize what you know. and reach and teach a global audience.
Mhm.
So this is, I love this business model because, I'm someone who was a consultant, and I was a consultant for many years, and I can only be in one place at a time,
Right.
right? So I mean, I can only be on one plane at a time or in front of a client at a time. So this is an opportunity for me to kind of extend that knowledge to a global audience, because again, we have global students, if you will, because everything is online in digital format, and it's a way to earn more. And I use the term without having to work so hard. So maybe if there's an opportunity for, and myself included, and I'll use myself as a real example. When the pandemic hit, I was not on planes as often, or in client, one-on-ones face to face with clients as often. Nobody was really traveling. And so I had to sort of reinvent myself, and I do strategic planning work. So I built my first course in strategic planning. I taught myself how to do it. I learned the technology, built the infrastructure. I'm also a digital marketer, so I understood the marketing services and the capabilities I needed to employ. And then so I learned how to do this for myself, and without having to get on a plane and get on a train or get in the car and go anywhere. And so that was an opportunity for me to earn more, leveraging what I know, leveraging my own intellectual property, and monetize it. So this is something that's becoming more and more of interest to people who are authors and speakers, because they, again, are constrained by time. And I think Bill, when you started the conversation this morning about leveraging your time, scaling your time, I always come back to you can't be in more than one place at a time. So if you can find a way to generate revenue, incremental revenue, by taking all the content materials that you already have as coaches, consultants, as authors, we have content. Many of us have a lot of content. So it's just a matter of organizing it and putting it up on a digital format.
Well, we leverage this technology so we can reach out to over 600,000 people.
That's right. It's right here.
So we can be in more than one place at a time.
Well, yeah. So let's talk about this for just a quick second, because of TikTok, because of YouTube. I'm an entrepreneur, and I say, all right, Deb, that's cool. I could work with you or hire you, but I could watch 6 YouTube videos and say I'm an expert and I can do it myself. Why is it that we want to come to SMB and yourself instead of the frustration of trying to become an overnight YouTube sensation?
Well, great question. I'll tell you, first of all, the value of what we're doing here, we're providing step-by-step instruction. And what we find in the SMB space is that, people need that step-by-step instruction. So that's, so our courses are built working with our experts and our clients. We're building step-by-step instruction. There's a lot of value to that. There's also value in the fact that, in addition to that step-by-step instruction, you're part of an online peer community. So not only are you learning from that expert, you're learning from each other and sharing best practices and supporting each other. And so you're getting different points of view from people all over the world. And so that just extends the learning experience. You'll never get that watching, you'll never get that watching a TikTok video, or even, you're just not going to get that meaningful experience. And it's a shared experience.
And I'll tell you, this is why I came to Deb is not that, not that I can't go out there and try and learn it and try to be as me in that, but I don't have the time. Number one. Number two, why not get somebody who's already way better at it than I'm going to be, and join forces and work together? I recently just reached out to Deb with a new idea that I have that is ideal for what she brings to the table, and I'm very excited about working with you, Deb, and launching this new business, which should be launched probably within the next 2 weeks. But it's such a fantastic world to be able to reach, like you say, reach so many more people than you ever could just trying to do this on your own. I want to get to Ted's question though. I
Which one?
didn't want to leave him hanging there. Ted, business owners wear a lot of hats,
Mhm.
and and that's just the nature of the beast, especially when you're getting started from concept to getting the first and 5 employees, 15 of the 500.
Mhm.
You wear a lot of hats, and this is what we on the show we promote so much is that you need help.
Yep.
You are not an expert in under every hat that you wear. You're just not, and you need to reach out to people and get expert advice, expert help. Hence, otherwise you have to sit there and you're going to spend all of your time learning each and every little aspect that you need to know, and you can't.
You
Your
can't.
business will die.
Right.
If you will get so stressed out, you will give up.
Yeah. So again, I think it's, especially with employees, we're learning that they have multiple talent now, right? And so he used the case of a big box, and they have to wear multiple hats.
Yeah.
The difference, I think, is when you're working for a small entrepreneur or mid-sized entrepreneur, I'm able to say, what are your talents, and let me utilize those. The big boxes are like, we really don't care what your talents are. You're going to do this, this, and this.
Well,
Mhm.
there's a value in learning how to do different jobs within an organization, right? Because maybe you need to fill in for somebody who has been ill or maybe
Yeah.
hit by a bus,
Mhm.
or maybe somebody just up and quit, and we have key man
Right.
insurance for
Yeah.
certain folks, right? Because the cost for replacing them is so astronomical, not just financially, but mentally and
Right. And I think that's old people, right? Like you and I, Bill,
Yeah.
is that's the hard thing is hey, you know what? You got to start somewhere, kid. You got to start at the bottom. You got to mop the floor and work your way up to the penthouse, right? And now with e-learning, with the emotional intelligence, they're going, yeah, I really don't have to. You know what? I've got these skill sets. I can come in and do these skill sets right away. So I think, how do we navigate that, Deb and Bill, to say maybe you don't have to start by mopping the floor and work your way up.
why I mean, there's so many things, variables that get involved with that, right? What's your passion? What's your education? What's your knowledge? What's your experience? When you're looking at that, and all of those things come into play. Um, but as as Ted points out, we wear a lot of hats, and business
Mhm.
owners wear a lot of hats. You just there's hats out there you don't even know you're wearing.
Yeah, right.
I mean, it's that much going on, and that's the point of this show, is to help you understand all those other hats, and maybe point you in the right direction to get help. And someone like Deb can provide you with tremendous amount of help in learning. That's my side of it. I don't know. What do you think, Deb?
I appreciate the question very much, and I'll tell you, it's interesting. And I think it fundamentally comes down to planning. And if you're, back to my earlier point about looking at, and some of the work is literally about, if you're a new business owner or a small business owner, what do you want this entity that you've created to become? And you start to build your plan together to what your vision is, your mission, and you're planning from these different perspectives, as I mentioned: financial, customer, operations, and employees. And so even, when you're building, putting your plan together, maybe for the first time, you're going to, as you start to think about what your value is to your customers, and that's a great place to start, is, okay, I have an expertise in X, that's going to be my service offering. And then, you're going to start there. And then from there, you're going to go and say, okay, what is my opportunity for growth, with this expertise that I have? And you need to size the market. And so this is something that is probably, if you ask me what the most critical success factor is for any small business owner or person who's becoming a small business, is do your homework and do your research. And because when you go to plan for your business, and the way that we teach it in our course is, you don't plan we have a 7-module course, but we're not even planning until module 4, which means modules 1, 2, and 3. What are we doing? We're planning to plan. We're putting our team together. So that's also another important conversation. But you're also gathering information. You're gathering, I call it the internal factors and external forces facing your business. In other words, what's the demand for your products and services? Can you quantify that? Who are your competitors? What are some of these external forces like government? Is your industry regulated by the government? What's going on with the economy? I mean, so you're looking outside of yourself to the external marketplace that you're serving, the industry that you're serving, and you're gathering data and you're analyzing data as an input to help you prioritize and help you really have a good understanding of what that financial viability is of your business model. So I would say that, and then by going through this exercise, you're going to have an understanding of where you need help. Okay, maybe I'm an expert in marketing and I'm doing marketing services, but I'm really not, good on, the financial planning side. So you're going to have an understanding by going through this planning effort of where the weak links are. Then you're going to research and find resources, external resources that can help you. So I would say that if you have somebody to work with, or a mentor or a coach or someone that can help you from a financial point of view, a customer facing product value point of view, operational, like, do you have the internal capability to deliver that value? And then the employee piece, or if you don't have employees yet, who needs to be part of your tribe or your team or your community to provide that support that you need. And if you start thinking that way, think outside of yourself and think about who is your tribe going to be, or the community where you can tap into these additional external resources, you're going to set yourself up for success.
I love that. And because it kind of flows. Here's something, a statement by Ted. It says there's not enough hours in the day to do everything. Well, the more you learn, the more knowledge you have, the more options you have, the more freedom you have. And so you'll have more time. Once you have acquired the necessary education that you need for that particular part of your aspect of your business, it'll becoming more and more of a natural thing and a natural growth. Actually, you'll have more time.
You will have more time, and you'll learn how to say no. And that's another thing that's really interesting as a business owner. You have to say no. You can't possibly, there are only, so many, like you said, so many hours in the day, so many, financial and human resources that are available to you. Okay. So you have to say no. The only way you can say no is if you're prioritizing, and you're prioritizing based upon opportunities to capitalize on growth, and opportunities to mitigate risk. And if you keep those two things in the, front part of your mind, you're going to be able to say no. And therefore you're not going to go, and I use the term wandering in the wilderness. You won't be wandering in the wilderness because you'll be very focused on the task at hand and making sure that you're working, on those initiatives that are going to truly have a positive financial return to your business.
So Deb, then, like you said, there's so much out there in the cyber world, right? Mm-hmm. How do I know where to go to find what's good, what's not good? What content do I, should I be seeking out?
I think LinkedIn is a great place to hang out, and also be part of networking groups. Because this is, and this is really an investment that you're making is by paying attention to what people are talking about, maybe in some of the groups that you participate in, because number one, you're going to learn about what's going on. You're going to understand how you can add value. And that's what you want to be able to do. You want to be able to learn from others because everybody's an expert in something, right? And you know what you know, but you don't know what you don't know. So you need to, pay attention. You need to find the communities that are and the groups that are right for you. And because by doing so, you're going to find other subject matter experts who are experts in fields that you are not experts in. And that's how you're going to then tap into, and so all of us as business owners have, kind of that, our network, our very close network of mentors, if you will, people that we can reach into, tap into, that can add value. And so we're not spinning, right? That we're keeping focus and keeping moving forward.
Yeah, you should have a team, and there could be a lot to that team, whether it's a lawyer, a CPA, a finance person,
Absolutely.
and all these things. But also just to, I have a personal team, and I'm actually putting the team together for the new business, which includes you.
Right.
But it is important to get out there and network and understand which networking groups are best for you, and maybe it's a chamber or something. But because a prime example is you and I met through networking,
Exactly.
and we played tag for a while because I was terrible at the time. No excuses. I just did not do my best effort to reach out to you. Yet something kept nagging at me, saying, "I know I got to talk to this woman because I know she's super special. I know she's super smart, and I need to know, what she does and how she does it because who knows? Maybe I come up with a new idea, and she'd be perfect to help me get it off the ground."
Well, thank you
Lo and
for that.
behold. So you're right. Listen to the people talking. Listen to what's going on. Listen to what the street is talking about.
Yep.
Sally says learning how to say no is hard. I'm working on that now, both professionally and personally. If you are a people pleaser, it's really a challenge. Having a tight
That's
process helps you stay the course, quote unquote, professionally, and say no to the right things.
Well, don't practice on your husband, Sally.
It is absolutely, hard to say no. But again, if you've got clarity on your objectives and your priorities, I'm a people pleaser, so I know exactly how difficult, that can be. And I have to say that the reason why I'm able to say no, because let's face it, opportunities abound, right? There, every minute of every day we're being bombarded with opportunities. But the ability to look at all that and then look down and say, okay, here are my key priorities. In order for me to meet my goals for this year, I have to focus on these 4 things, not 17 things, but 4 things. And I'm going to do the 4 things to the best of my ability, get the help that I need to be able to deliver, and say no to the rest. Not that the rest are not important. They're just not important right now. So We're going to push them aside. They're going to be there somewhere, we call it the parking lot or the backlog. It's going to be there. So we have visibility, but we're going to say no to them right now. Because right now it's not the right time. However, when some of those priorities, when we're able to deliver and we, can check those off the box, did that, now you can go back to that parking lot, that list of other great opportunities, and go through I call it the sizing and vetting exercise. Not all opportunities are created equal. You've got to do the homework. You've got to do that external research to be able to say, okay, that's an A priority or opportunity. That's a B. That's a C.
Yeah.
That's the only way you're going to be able to move forward.
Yeah. I mean, you'll get to the point where you have to say no because you just can't say yes to everything and keep going.
Right.
It ties up all your time. And, no is the second best answer to get as a salesperson because, if it's not yes, it's no, and move on. Because if you're going to continue to do the dance with that person you're trying to sell to, and you're going to dance and dance and dance, and they never buy, and now you look back and it's been 9 months, it's been a year, it's been 2 years.
Right.
Just get a no and move on, or get a yes.
Right.
Ted says, when you are involved in multiple businesses, and we do have what I would call serial entrepreneurs that listen to the show, right? Yeah, when you're involved in multiple businesses, how do you find time to spend on multiple businesses without neglecting one business, spending time on the other?
I'm finding it very challenging.
I'll tell you what I find most helpful is, performance management, adherence to performance management in your scorecard. So the way I would think about it is if I had a performance management scorecard for each one of my businesses, right? So I'm very clear about what my objectives are, my strategies, what my timeline looks like, and what my deliverable schedule looks like. Mm-hmm. And if I'm paying attention to each performance management scorecard, I'm going to have clarity about where I need to spend my time Everything else, I'm not even going to look at. So this is the only tool that I know that is really helping to manage multiple initiatives like this, or even multiple businesses, even multiple business units, is get your performance management scorecard built, know specifically what your objectives, your strategies, your timelines, your metrics, how you're going to drive accountability, and do that for each, and have a scorecard for each business unit or each separate business. That is your marching orders. That is what you pay attention to. Everything else is, interesting but irrelevant. I'll just say that.
You just don't try to do everything for yourself. Like I'll have 3 businesses up and running within next week, and I'm bringing you on along with 4 other folks because I can't do it all.
Right.
Well, I hate to be this guy, but if you go back to YouTube and or Bill's Facebook to last week's show with Joe Rojas, you might find
that was 2 weeks.
That was 2 weeks ago. See, I don't even know, right? So, but it was a great show. So you might find where he talks about building a machine. You are not the machine. If you can build the machine, you will probably allow your businesses to run the way they're supposed to without you having to.
And now you know why Joe is also another person I'm bringing on my team for this new venture, which we only have about 5 minutes left. So I'd like to bring that up a little bit. And the new venture is trying to teach financial literacy, not trying to, but putting together a program to help teach financial literacy to high school students. Another program will be entrepreneurship for high school students, because not everybody needs to go to college. Or wants to go to college and maybe want to start their own business. But we're also going to morph that into working with college students as they graduate, because then that's a whole new world. Then you're out in the real world, and there's a lot of things to learn that you haven't been brought up or raised understanding and knowing about it. For an example, buying your first home, or maybe it's your first car.
Well, and let's be honest, a lot of your professors, doctorals in business management have never run a business. They've just gone to school.
There's definitely a different viewpoint from an educational side of things,
right.
To remain politically correct. But yes, that's true. I am meeting with the high school next week to discuss what their ideas are for what they're looking for.
Right.
So I'm very interested in to seeing their perspective.
Sure.
I think it'll be great. These are life skills that people, right, that everybody needs to have. And I think, your efforts with, financial literacy, entrepreneurship, absolutely. There are, and the numbers speak for themselves, 1.4 million last year, right? Almost half a million in January. Last month. It's not slowing down. And there are so many options. And, here's another thing that I just think is so interesting about online learning is by doing something like this, this is part of your brand, right? So you may, as you're, and you would, it makes sense. It's logical to think about if you're, you've been either a well-established business, or you've been in, the business world a long time, you have expertise in your, area of expertise. And, and so you're building this brand identity, and you're creating a new asset, which is a revenue generating asset, which is your course in your community. For young people who may not choose to go to college, or maybe they go to trade school and then they want to open a business.
Right.
What they need to be thinking about is, of course, they need to learn what they need to know to start and open and be successful. But this is an opportunity for them to begin to build a brand identity for themselves that will carry themselves through the rest of their lives. And so if they are, and so they have to create this brand, presence, brand promise. What is their product, their service? And so this is a great opportunity for them to tap into this arsenal, because it is an arsenal of business knowledge that is available at the touch of your fingertips.
Yeah, and that's exactly what we're trying to bring and to a younger crowd and younger group of folks, so that we can, help them have choices again, have choices, options in life. have their own freedom.
That's it. Of course, that's going to rip us right to the back end of this show. Very, very blessed to be able to have you with us today, Deb. That's Deb.
Thank you.
Dietz. And Deb, if people want to productize, I don't know if I said that right, the expertise and share it with the world, how do they get in touch with you to do that?
Absolutely. Thanks, Ken. You can find me on LinkedIn, Deb Dietz. That's Dietz. Visit us at smbdigitaledu.com. And we'd love to help you understand how you can productize and monetize what you know and earn more.
That's the key right
That's
there.
the key.
Earn more.
Earn more.
Get your expertise
the
out
end
there.
goal, the
It's
end
the new
goal.
way, folks.
Deb, I can't thank you enough for coming on today.
Thanks for having me.
Wealth of knowledge and information. I think you all can understand why I'm excited to partner up with Deb and Joe Rojas and most likely Josh Joel and another gentleman on the show, Scott Rosenberg.
Wonderful.
Sweet. It's going to be good. Hey, want to thank you all for getting caught in the net. 216. Take a look at the calendar. That's us today. 216. Come back at 12:30 for questions you never thought you could ask in church. And then tonight at 5:30, brand new episode of Two Bald Guys and Mike, talking a little bit about, well, I don't know, some habits. And then
How to grow hair.
listen, you're going to want to tune in on Friday morning to the grounds. The main question there, what is the American dream?
That's good.
Thanks for tuning in,
I
everybody.
think it's to be your own
Be
business
good
owner.
and be good to each other.
Thanks for joining us today. Really appreciate it.